No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today, having a conversation with somebody who I'm very impressed by. I see you making your way on YouTube in the social media realm and doing big things. Definitely building a crazy following, a crazy name for yourself. We got Quan on the show.
What's poppin'?
How you feeling, man?
Coolin'.
Nice to have you on here. I've just been like observing this whole crazy fan base that you built over the years, and it's pretty impressive.
I appreciate you.
Definitely. So, okay, tell me a little bit about where you're coming from and what you were like when you were younger.
I'm originally from Atlanta.
Okay.
Grew up in Atlanta, born and raised. I'm from the South Side. From Atlanta.
What were your parents like?
Grew up with a mom, no dad. Well, my mom and my grandma. I got like a lady I call my grandma. She not like blood, but she been in my life since I was 1. So I call her my grandma.
So it was like your mom and her taking care of you?
And my stepdad, but it was really more so my mom and my grandma.
And your dad was just ghost? You never really had a relationship with him at all?
He was in and out of my life up until I got to, I want to say, late elementary school.
Okay.
And that was just gone.
You think he was like living a life of crime? Was he all fucked up or he just doing something else?
I don't know what the hell he was doing, but shit, I was just thinking that with my dudes.
You were never super curious, or does it occur to you that before you die, you'd like to have a conversation with him?
Nah, I don't really care to.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think, is that just because you think it's just some hoe ass shit to not take care of your kid?
For sure. Yeah. It's like, why bring a kid into this world if you're not going, you know what I'm saying, nurture him and shit like that.
Yeah, as somebody with a kid now, I find that like unbelievably hard to wrap my head around.
Bro. But as the years went on, I got comfortable with it. I got a little sister too. And it was like, I was more so caring about how she felt about the whole situation. And once she stopped caring, it was like, shit, I'm good.
Definitely. Okay, so what was, I don't know, South Atlanta? Like, what was the vibe like? Was it intense or was it
the
more
south side of Atlanta is like, I would say it ain't the best of the best. People actually think I grew up in the suburbs, which is crazy.
Right.
I didn't grow up in the hood, but I didn't grow up in the suburbs. Like, I was around shit. I've been through a lot of shit. It was just like, I don't know. People think my upbringing is not what it is, but I don't really speak on it. I'd be more so just quiet about it.
Just because that's such a thing that people want to brag about how bad their upbringing was or how much shit they've been through or whatever.
Fact.
When in reality, it's like that's every parent's goal is to basically raise their kid in a situation where they don't have to deal with a bunch of crazy street shit.
Right. I wasn't necessarily in the streets, but it was times where, I mean, a lot of people go through this shit. Motherfucking have shit. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but I was homeless for like a whole year of my life. Up until, I want to say, when my little brother was born, he was actually born, like, you know how you go home after the baby is born? He came to the hotel.
Really?
In the hotel.
What age are we talking?
I don't even remember how old I was. I just know I was young and I was in the hotel. But to me as a kid, it was like, shit, we in the hotel, it's cool. But growing, like, me being older and looking back at it, I'm like, damn, 4 or 5 months, one hotel room is crazy.
Right, but when your kid is super young, he doesn't necessarily understand how shit normally is. I was having a conversation with somebody recently who told me that they spent a big part of their childhood growing up in like a battered women's shelter, and they didn't really understand because I've been in a battered women's shelter before. It's basically, it looks like an apartment building,
right? But
meanwhile, you got to like check in at the door and stuff, and like, I don't know, it's like all these little things, but when you're young, you don't really know what normal is.
You just living life.
Yeah.
Everything fun and cool. I was having the best time of my life, not knowing we living in a damn hotel.
What do you think your mom was going through that she ended up in that situation?
I don't know. My mom, she ain't really necessarily she never really had it, but she always made the best of what she had. So I could just salute her for everything she, you know what I'm saying, provided for me. But it wasn't an instance when I was a kid to where I just had the most. And I'm not saying it's like nothing to seek. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not seeking
validation.
Yeah, I'm not seeking validation or sympathy. I don't want no sympathy for my upbringing. It's just like, it was what it was.
Right.
Go through his life.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, I had like a pretty normal upbringing too, but it's like you know people who are from like terrible upbringings in the projects, and like that is a big part of like who they are as a person, and you don't want to necessarily like conflate your life with that. Exactly. But at the same time, it's different than growing up with a family situation that's like just gonna make life super easy for you and everything, right?
Facts. I ain't necessarily have the America's dream, I guess you could say.
Right. So when you go into school and stuff, what kind of kid were you?
I was always on my A game in school because I wanted to make my dudes happy. That's really how I first started making my first little bit of money, making good grades. So like I've always just liked money. I always had like a hustling mentality being around my grandma. And it's just like, she said, you get money for getting good grades. When she said get money, it's probably like $10. But it's like, nigga, I'm looking forward to that $10. Like, what can I do with this $10? I'm finna save this till I can get another $10.
Right.
And it was just like, that what kept me going in school, making money.
Did school come easily to you?
You could say that, yeah.
Definitely.
I didn't really have problems in school as far as academics wise.
When did you get turned on to social media, and what was the first stuff that you were watching?
I want to say 2013. That's when I made my first, the same Instagram I actually have now, 2013. I think that was the first social media. Or I was on, well, do you consider Kik as social media?
It's more like a messaging app, the Kik that you're talking about, not Kik, the streaming app that people are probably thinking of.
Yeah, nah. I was on Kik, Oovoo back in the day. But I feel like Instagram was my first social media, Instagram and YouTube.
Right. And who were you looking at for inspiration or people that you thought that you kind of wanted to be like?
Growing up, I was watching Roman Atwood heavy. I was watching Casey Neistat and DDG.
Yeah, that's dope. Because to me, Casey Neistat was the person who I had been watching some vlogs, but Casey Neistat was what made me like, oh, this is not just some bullshit. You can make beautiful content. You can make amazing, powerful, important, well put together content on YouTube. This vlogging does not have to be lowbrow.
Literally. I feel like that's what made me want to start vlogging. And then watching DDG growing up as well, it was like, damn, he black and he doing it. I could for sure do this.
Right. Yeah, that honestly, DDG was the other person that came to mind when I was watching your stuff, where I think that there's like an appetite in terms of like young kids, in particular young black kids, who really just want to see a young dude who looks like them, who's got it together. They got a cool car, they got clothes, they got girls, they know how to, you know, get around in the world because they're literally just studying and trying to like figure out how they're going to get where you're at.
That's a fact. Literally. People think YouTube is just, they think it's just like instant success. It's not that. Like, take time. And a lot of people see how I am now and they don't think, like, a lot of people think I just blew up overnight.
Right.
I've been doing YouTube for 7 years. And I say this same story every time because it's true. Like, when I first started doing YouTube, I was streaming, gaming. I was streaming for 2 years consistently, like damn near every day after school. Summer break come, I'm streaming every day. No views, I'm talking about nobody watching me.
Like literally nobody or almost nobody?
One person to come in, they'll say something, would leave. I'm streaming for 5, 6, 7 hours, no viewers. That second year came, that's when I finally started catching traction. And then from there on out, it was just.
So the streams started catching on. What was it that made it catch on?
I was streaming Fortnite. So what I would do was, this is where I first like learned it. And a lot of people probably do this nowadays or every now and then. Like I used to play 2K and Fortnite. So I would host like little giveaways just to get people to click my and get you know what I'm saying, a couple amount of views. The views would come in, I had the views, but once that giveaway over, everybody gone because they don't want the money or whatever I'm giving away. So I attract a little audience. I say I get like 500 views. Boom, giveaway over, everybody gone. But it'll be that 3, 4 people that come back even after the giveaway. And I just kept building up slowly. And that was really that.
Definitely. So the streaming thing, like even though you were studying all these vloggers and stuff, you didn't really see yourself being able to do that, but the streaming, it felt more approachable?
It was because I always wanted to do YouTube, but I didn't necessarily know how to start. Like I really didn't. Like I used to see these people, look after these people, but I didn't know how to start or what to do. I'm just a kid at the end of the day, watching all these other people doing what they do. I don't have a car. I can't just leave the crib and, you know what I'm saying, do what I want to do. So I was playing the game. I started streaming it, and really that's what it was.
If you want to vlog, you kind of like need a somewhat interesting life.
That's not really the case.
Okay.
I would say if you want to vlog, just keep it as authentic as possible. Because people want to see your life. They want to see what you're doing. You don't have to necessarily get up, go outside and do something every day.
Right.
Like I want to get to the point where I could sit in the crib, make a bowl of noodles and people will watch it. Like I want to get to that point, but I feel like you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of always held myself to the standard in terms of vlogging of like, if I'm going to make a vlog today, I need to go out and do something interesting. I need to be around some people that are fun to hang out with. I need to go do something. But I mean, you are right that there's a lot of people want to see you live a pretty ordinary life. And one thing I always notice too is that as a vlogger, you go overseas or some shit, a lot of times your views, you expect your views are going to go way up, and they don't, because people actually are more interested in seeing you in your natural environment, not some crazy fancy different.
That is crazy, but that's 1,000% true.
Yeah.
You think the travel vlogs are hit way harder. The CPM is higher, but the views is, nah. They want to see you in your natural state.
It's like, you ever have a TV show that you like watching, and when they're at home or they're in their office or they're like regular setting, you enjoy it more. And then when they do an episode where they leave and they go do something different, you're kind of like almost let down because you want the more familiar experience.
I don't watch TV.
I was thinking that as I said it, I'm like, he might be young enough that he kind of came up without having to go through watching a bunch of TV shows.
I was watching TV, like I was on cartoon shit as a kid, but growing up, I really was away from the TV shit. It was just YouTube.
Right. Nah, I mean, I'm like that now. I got Netflix, Hulu, all this shit. I never even look at them. I just look at YouTube.
Bro, subscription just running monthly. I don't watch that shit.
Right. Sometimes I feel stupid. I'm like, there's all this that costs millions and millions of dollars to make that I have no curiosity about. Whereas YouTube videos that are made basically for free, just
you want to watch it. It's more entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you start to get the ball rolling with the streaming, and then how big does that get before you kind of turn your eyes to vlogging and doing other types of content?
I was averaging, I would say, 600 views, and then my channel got a strike, so I couldn't stream for like 60 days or something like that.
What was that for?
I was playing a song. I forgot what artist it was, but I was playing somebody's music, and they striked it to the point where I couldn't stream for 60 days. Wow. And I was like, damn, I done built up this momentum, and I'm finna I can't just let this go to waste. So from that point on, I started doing IRL content. This when I was in, I want to say, 11th grade. I had just became a junior in high school. I started doing IRL content because I gotta withstand this momentum I built up and just capitalize off of it. I did a couple public interviews because that was hot back in the day. I wasn't necessarily trying to hop on waves because that's like something I ain't always been on. Like I'm not the type of person. I want to build a wave. So from that point on, I did a clothing haul, and that ran. I think it got like 300,000 views, and I was like the most views I ever seen. I would have never thought I can obtain that, and I got that. I was like, okay, clothes, and I like clothes. I like fashion, so I was like, I'm finna just go for it. Was getting views, and I kept doing it, and it was working. So
it was just the clothes that you were already buying? Was it some regular shit because you weren't having money like that at the time? It was
more so like I was showing people you can put together nice clothes, like nice outfits without money. Like I would go shopping in Goodwill, and this that I done did growing up, so it's like it's easy to me. Like I know I like clothes. I got an eye for what I want to wear, and I was just putting it together. I got a lot of hate for what I was wearing, but I also got a lot of support.
It's interesting because that definitely was a wave on YouTube for a while. It was like going to the Salvation Army or the Goodwill and like finding expensive shit there. Like I knew people 2018, 2019 that seemed like they were blowing up off of just doing stuff like that.
Literally. I show people you can get something from Goodwill or Burlington y'all got Burlington out here?
I think so. We definitely had it where I grew up.
Like Ross, shit like that. You can get little cheap clothes from there, come home, fix it up yourself. I taught myself how to sew clothes, all that.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, they feel like you have to really have money in order to be into clothes or in order to take pride in what you're wearing or whatever. What are the main tips that you would give to like a young person that's trying to present themselves well but doesn't necessarily have a big budget?
I would say don't think having designers, having that on, you don't need designer to put it.
That's an easy way out.
You can literally like, most of these designers ain't even all that. It's people with clothing brands out here that is way harder than designing. So I say you don't need money to dress how you want to dress. You could make a crazy outfit with $50, believe it or not.
Where would you go? Something like the Goodwill or where?
I go Burlington. Burlington be having crazy because like I said, I grew up shopping there. Like growing up, I say when I got into high school, I had 3 pair of pants and it was all from Burlington. And I always had hella shirts, like hella tees. I would just collect tees because I ain't really grow that much. I was always small. So I had my 3 pants and I just switch up the outfits. And I be like, I had it on at school. People think like, damn, stay like with some clothes. Whole time I'm just putting together what I got.
Yeah, that's one thing I get from watching your videos. I'm like, damn, I was always a person that just was more concerned with just making it or figuring out what I was going to do with my life and wasn't really thinking about looking the part Whereas with you, I see it as like you're clearly using fashion and being able to take dope Instagram pictures, and that's just part of this overall brand that you're building for yourself. Were you always kind of thinking about it that way?
Not necessarily. Another thing with the whole Instagram, I just always like taking pictures. Like, that has been a thing. Before I started taking pictures of myself, I tried to get into photography. I had the first camera I ever got. It was like a Canon T6. I would just go outside and just take pictures, record. And that from that point on, like growing up doing that, I was like, this pictures take kind of cool. And I always wanted to make my pictures different from everybody else's. So you probably see on my Instagram, it's like, it looked clear as hell. All I'm using is my phone. I feel like I mastered the iPhone camera.
Wow, those are iPhone photos. Okay, that's impressive. The camera thing too, I think is real interesting that a lot of people vlog, they use their iPhone, they fucking just get a janky ass camera and just use that. Has really emphasizing the quality of your videos. Has that always been a big concern for you? Because even like a recent vlog I was watching and you're all like going and buying a different lens and trying it out and like you're renting it before you buy it. And like just a real attention to detail of like how your vlogs are going to be presented.
I would say, yeah, because like I said, I was watching Casey Neistat and he always brought that quality.
Yeah.
Whereas you go watch DDG, he'll have an iPhone vlog here and a camera vlog here. I always wanted to just have that good quality. And you don't necessarily need good quality to do YouTube. I always say this, like, if y'all know who Smooth Geo is, he blew up off of doing public interviews on an iPhone. He was recording, editing, and posting all on the iPhone. And he got 1 million subscribers. You don't need a camera to blow up on YouTube.
Definitely.
People always ask me, oh, what camera should I get? What's the good starter camera? You got a camera right on your phone. Use it. I don't know why people think like a camera is a need. It's not.
Yeah, like vlogging wise, I never really got past the phone. Like I always would just make phone vlogs and it just felt like I went straight from the phone to like, oh, now I have a filmer who's following me around filming. Because I never really got super comfortable just like holding the big ass, what do they call the thing? The gorilla nuts or whatever the that's called. You know what I'm talking about? Is that what it's called?
Gorilla Grip.
Gorilla Grip, the fucking big black ball thing that hangs off of the camera. Pause. I never really even like got super used to like carrying that around and everything. But okay, so you started experiencing success with the clothing thing, and did you just keep riding that out for a while? And what other stuff worked around that time?
I seen it was working, but it wasn't something I started YouTube wanting to do. Like I wanted to vlog. So I built a support base with the clothes where it was like, okay, I'm gonna continue doing clothes, but I'm finna go branch off and start a vlogging channel. So I made a vlogging channel while I was still doing the clothes, telling them like, go subscribe, you know what I'm saying? I say with YouTube, it's hard as hell to promote a YouTube channel. It's more so it gotta be natural. If they fuck with you, they're gonna subscribe. So made a vlogging channel, kept doing clothes, slowly stopped doing clothes and just went full on vlog mode. And I just been vlogging ever since. And I stopped posting for like a year on the clothes channel. And I just got back on it, but I ain't really consistent on it.
Why? What made you want to sort of step back from the clothing side of things?
Because it was like, yeah, you got to spend money to make money, but I'm at a point on YouTube where I'm not making hella money. So it's like, I'm spending all the cheese I'm getting on these clothes to make these videos, which isn't bad, but it's just, I'm doing something I don't want to do. I love clothes, but I love vlogging, and I prefer to vlog. So I'm going to start vlogging, and that's really what it was.
But during that time period when you're vlogging, like what is an average day in your life?
Hanging with the bros, I'm going to look at a car, because I believe in manifestation. So if I could see it, I could touch it, I could have it. I go vlog at a car dealership looking at a car. Oh, I'm going to have this car soon, whoop, whoop. That's a vlog. I bought a car at so-and-so age. Whole time I didn't buy the car, I'm just manifesting the car. But now it's to a point to where I'm actually, okay, I'm out here buying these cars. But back then it was just like, I was doing shit young niggas nowadays. You just having fun with the bros. And everything I was doing, I was recording.
Yeah, like when I watch it feels pretty smart to me because it's like, it's almost like you're doing a podcast throughout the day, but you're filming like chunks of you and your friends hanging out, or you're shipping your clothes out, or you're going out with a girl or whatever. And it's kind of like what I would tend to do is like, I would go live that day and then I would come on the podcast and then we would talk about it, or we just like have the conversation on the podcast. But there's something about just like living your life and just people getting to see you actually being a real person out there in the world that I feel like that goes a long way with the younger fan base, especially.
That's a fact. And it's crazy you say a real person in the world. It's been instances where I've been out and people are like, come up and look at me like, damn, like, you a real person. I be like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? That has happened to me multiple times, and I find that shit crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about your content that people seem kind of like skeptical of. Like one of the first, I think the person that told me to interview you was like, there's mad rumors that this dude is a scammer and he got all his money off scamming and shit. And the more of your stuff that I watched, I'm like he has a lot of YouTube views. He's selling merch and shit. It seems like the money is probably coming from YouTube and merch and shit.
That's the biggest like cloud over my head.
Really?
Everybody that sees me, well, first when I was first blowing up on YouTube, it was, oh, mommy's and daddy's money. I ain't had that. Then I got to where I'm at now is, oh, he's a scammer. Then I just had some big shit go on with my whole clothing brand thing. I have a brand called Cozy.
Right.
And like some crazy shit went on to where Shopify held my payout because I was doing this thing called the pre-order method, which a couple clothing brand owners put me on in the beginning, like when I was first starting.
Take pre-orders, then you make as many shirts or whatever as you need to make.
So the pre-order method is you drop clothes, like you get samples, you do a little photo shoot, you drop the clothes, you don't have the clothes yet on hand. So from that point on, you take the money that you got from Shopify, you go to your manufacturer, you pay the manufacturer, you get the clothes made, and then you ship them out once the clothes are made. Now this method, a lot of brands, like big brands do this.
Yes.
But it's like now in today's day and age where TikTok is out, like people have a short attention span. So they want their shit instant. When they order something, they want it damn near right after they place the order. So it's like with the whole pre-order shit and the whole Shopify shit holding my money, it was just like, okay, he getting all these cars, he dropping clothes, nobody got the clothes. Where the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the missing puzzle to this puzzle piece? Like,
the question is like how long it takes in between you doing the sale and then you actually being able to ship it out. Like the manufacturing process is at least a couple weeks. A lot of times people get upset about that. Like how long was it taking you to get the order sent?
When I first started, I was doing good until Shopify started holding the money. Cause like I think if you get like over a 2% chargeback rate, they just ban your whole shop payouts.
Right.
Like you can't, they just no longer want to work with you. And after that, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to Stripe. If you know what Stripe is. I went to Stripe. Stripe is the people that held my money for another 90 days, I believe. I don't recommend working with Stripe. If y'all work with Shopify and y'all trying to find another payment processor, this free game. So what y'all wanna do is find a merchant service. I just found out about this, I say 2 months ago. Find you a good merchant service, go through them. It takes time to get approved, but it's for sure worth it. And I would say don't do pre-orders. If y'all are a clothing brand, don't do pre-orders. But when I first started my brand, it wasn't many brands out there for real. And the people that was putting me on game, they was doing pre-orders.
Right.
So it's like now with all these new brands doing everything on hand, the pre-order method like burnt. And it's like the bigger I got, the worse it got. Cause it's like, that's just what they thought I did. He's a scammer.
Right, because I mean the whole thing, the problem that you solve when you do that pre-order method is basically like if you drop a shirt and nobody gives a fuck and you only sell 50 shirts, you're like, oh well, at least I don't have a shitload of shirts sitting around. Whereas if you made 1,000 shirts and then you only sold 50 shirts, now you have this problem of having 950 fucking shirts in your warehouse that you gotta sell them cheap.
You start putting shit on sale and shit.
All the shit that you don't really want to do, and it just kind of fucks you up in the long run.
Another good thing, the pre-order method was like good for me because I ain't had the most money when I started. So it was like, okay, you don't need money to start this shit. You just need money for the sample. I had, you know what I'm saying, a little buzz going on. So I took my image, I took pictures, dropped the clothes. It went way crazier than I thought. Like I didn't expect to sell as much as I sold. And with that, as soon as I drop, I'm expecting to pay out the next business day. Cause you know, Shopify, they pay out quick. They was like, yeah, shit on hold. I'm like, fuck, like what's next? I done sold all this, you know what I'm saying, merchandise and shit can't get shipped out. Like, what do I do? So like, I'm just stuck, nigga. I'm damn near going through depression. It's like, cause I want to get this shit out. I want to withstand my lifestyle. And I just sold way more than I would have ever expected. Like looking back at this shit today, I remember when I dropped, I was going to get a car wash or something. And my shit was just flooded, just going crazy. And I'm like, this is real life. I would have never expected that.
Right. When did you actually start getting to the point where you were able to like you know, be buying cars and shit? Because I feel like that's a big part of the appeal with your videos is that you got wild different outfits all the time. You got nice ass cars. You got your own spot, etc. Like that just very, very attractive to the young people out there because they're trying to figure out how they could get into the same position. When did you feel like your money actually started to really come together to the point where you could have that lifestyle?
I feel like it wasn't necessarily my money, it was my credit. My mom put me onto credit while I was young. Like,
really?
I want to say 15 years old. And we ain't had the most money, but she knew about credit. Like, the little she knew about credit, she told me and put me on game. And as I'm young, I'm just soaking all this up. And as I turned 18, my credit was at a certain point so I can just go finance a car. And when I tell you I studied credit like crazy young, and credit is really how I got everything.
Wow.
And you can't just have good credit with no income. You got to have income.
Right.
I'm not just getting these cars with zero money down. It don't work like that.
That to me, honestly, like your whole story, and I didn't know it was 100% like that, but I had a feeling that because you teach about how to do credit repair and how to like get your credit good and shit to like you have a Patreon dedicated to that I see you linked in all your video descriptions. But, you know, me and a lot of other people that I know who have become successful the last few years, it's the shit that we all end up going through is just the realization of, yeah, you might have a fucking $1 million, but if your credit's fucked up, it don't really help that much. Like literally. If you, and meanwhile, if you have perfect credit, you'd be able to get a good ass interest rate to be able to get a crib, get the car that you want, etc. And I know so many people that have made millions of dollars off clothing lines and social media or whatever, and they just aren't really able to move the way that they want because their credit's still fucked.
Literally, if I was offered, I want to say, if I was offered $5 million or a 750 credit score with good history, I'm taking the credit any day because I can leverage that credit. I can get property. It's a whole bunch of shit I can get with credit versus $5 million cash. Yeah, you got the money, but you don't have the credit.
So what's the most common theory about you being a scammer?
My lifestyle is like.
But they just think you're like a standard like Atlanta scammer dude who like goes to the mall and does purchases on.
I don't.
So you don't even know about the scamming game. It's just not you.
I never knew how to scam. I never scammed a day in my life. Nigga, my mom works for the government. It's like, be serious.
Right.
I don't know, but it's just some day made up on the internet and I just took it around with it.
It's funny because that is such a part of like a lot of different rappers and shit's like origin story. Like I remember interviewing Yachty back in the day when he first came out and then realizing that he had an arrest for scamming before he got put on. And then like there was a lot of other people who I won't name during that time period where it was like, yo, you know, so-and-so, like, yeah, he was doing all right with music, but the reason why he was always coming out to LA and having Airbnbs and all this shit is because he was scamming that shit. And like, I don't know, like that's a real point of pride for a lot of people to be able to sort of live the lifestyle before they can afford it.
I don't really get it. It's because I don't really get the whole scamming shit because it's like the people that's actually scamming, people praise them and look up to them. Versus the people like me and a couple other people who got motion going on that's not scamming and they say we scamming, they bash us and shit like that. I don't get it. Cause like I don't want to put on names. I'm not gonna put on names out there, but people that actually doing this shit, they'll look up to them. That's like, you know what I'm trying to say? And they'll like put them on a pedestal, like, oh yeah, he no. Versus a nigga like me that's I recorded myself walking around Atlanta, he's a scammer.
But like also a person who makes a bunch of money from selling drugs or whatever will get all this praise and accolades and people act like that's so dope. Whereas a person like you who started a business from scratch, you look at that and you're like, yeah, you got to that point financially, but I got there and I didn't have to risk going to prison, which is a massive benefit. And we all, I know a shitload of people that have had millions of dollars and then they got locked up, they got a RICO, got whatever. And it's like, man, that shit is not cute at all. It might seem cool when you're young enough that you don't really have a concept of the repercussions, but that shit does not really excite me as I get older, you know?
That's a fact.
So, okay. You started like doing pretty well with the YouTube thing, and then why did you decide to introduce the clothing side of things? And how did you go about separating it from like merch? Because every YouTuber has merch, so that whole side of things is kind of played out at times.
So like I said, me watching DDG and Roman Atwood, they had merch on. I know DDG had merch on Teespring. I went ahead and made me merch on the same platform and started selling it. It just said Cozy on the tee. And I did nothing but promote it, and they handled everything, fulfillment, everything. So from that point on, I was doing the merch. I was like, I don't really like this. This ain't really me. I want to get hands-on. So I went ahead and I made my own brand. with the name of what I call my supporters. I call them Cozy Mafia. And Cozy was just something like, I just took and ran with it. So I made an actual clothing brand, and from there on out, it just been that.
Right. And I mean, it's hard to stand out, like, just because there's so many clothing brands at this point. I'm sure Atlanta's just like LA, where there's a million cool young dudes who got clothing lines they're trying to get off the ground or whatever. What do you feel like actually really drew people to your shit?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was more so the piece. It was more so the person behind the piece. Like, people would buy it just because they rock with me. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I had the hardest clothes, because I didn't. It's people out there with way harder clothes, but I built my brand up, not necessarily a clothing brand, but my personal brand to the point to where, oh, they see me in it, they see it's mine, they want it. Definitely.
And I mean, but how do you balance it in terms of like wearing expensive designer shit or stuff that is, you know, gonna the average clout wear that people like these days versus wearing your own shit? Like, because I even noticed that with like the Nelk Boys or Mr.Beast or whatever, that they will not just rock their own merch. They'll have one of the homies in a Supreme shirt and one of the homies in a Gucci shirt, and then they'll have one person in their merch on average, because they don't want to. They know that if they have their shit right alongside some shit that everybody knows is cool, then that's more likely to transfer to. Right. Whereas if everybody's just wearing their own merch, it just starts to look tacky to people.
It looks cheesy.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to say it looks cheesy, because if you got a brand, wear your shit, rep your shit. It's been instances, because I got another brand. I made another brand as well. While I wore my other brand out, I'm wearing the brand, and most of the people walk up to me like, yo, where you get this from? It's like, you basically putting in groundwork as where you getting customers just by walking around in your own clothes.
Yeah, that's why, like, as a person who does podcasts and shit, it can be kind of tempting to just rock your own shit every single day. But ultimately, that kind of just blows it out. Then it's kind of like people can't wear that shit without envisioning the fact that they seen you wear that shirt 8 times.
That is true.
Yeah.
I can for sure see that.
What is your favorite brands to spend money on at this point in your life, and what kind of stuff do you buy the most of?
I really just got into the designer stuff because it's like I said, growing up, I wasn't able to afford that stuff. So like, of course, I see people who I look up to wearing this. Of course, I want to, you know what I'm saying, see what it's like. So I just really got into designer, but the designer shit ain't really nothing. I'm more so like high fashion. Like, I know Rick Owens burnt now, but I've been wearing Rick. I've been wearing Miharas. I like shit like that. Favorite brand, clothing brand, I would say is this brand called World 7 Co., Billionaire Studios, and a brand called Yale Yard. Other than that, as far as designer, I don't really care for designer.
How do you feel about like people moving away from just rocking designer to rocking, like, you know, brands that are made by like people who are actually from hip hop, you know, in terms of like out of LA, like my boy Desto Dubb is off a lot of cough syrup. That shit, I see people rocking it constantly on red carpets, at award shows, whatever. And that's kind of amazing to me to see people actually treating a brand that comes from a dude who's from South Central, who really was a drug dealer, and people are like actually wearing his shit as if it was Gucci or Louis or whatever.
I support it because these designers don't give a fuck about us, truly. But versus you buying somebody brand that's out here damn near the same as you, I feel like that shit cool as hell. Like, fuck Balenciaga, fuck Gucci, fuck all them. It's like, they don't care about you in all reality.
It's a trick, because the $800 that you just spent on some fucking designer shoes or whatever, that's the same $800 you could have put in the bank that would get you closer to buying a house or doing whatever for your family or whatever. And it's like the idea that that's the natural progression of your life is to make a bunch of money and then give it all to these big ass corporations just so that you can wear shit, so that you can impress other broke people. It's like a mental trick that they have people under, and it's just not really. It's understandable that people want to differentiate themselves and they want to look cool and everything like that, and that's respectable, but there's just something about like fooling people into throwing all their money away on clothes that just seems really kind of evil to me.
Yeah, that shit weird.
Definitely. How come you never decided you wanted to rap? I feel like a lot of people in your position would have gone in that direction.
It's crazy because I've always wanted to be an artist. I've always said this. I always said, like, I'm cool with being a one-hit wonder. Like, if I was to make music, I'd be okay with making one song blow up, and that's it. I don't really care. I feel like I want to make music just to perform and have cool ass music videos, because there's artists out here now, I'm damn near living the same lifestyle as them. I got the cars, I got damn near everything they got. So it's like, I feel like I can have some hard ass music videos. But I haven't really just sat and made music.
Yeah, it's got to take like a different level of dedication, especially because like as a YouTuber, you spend the whole day filming a video, you get the video edited, you put it out, boom, you get to read thousands of comments, and that makes you feel good. You get to see how much money it made. That's a great feeling.
And another thing with the whole YouTube shit is like, YouTubers can go out and live their normal life. When you're a rapper, you gotta withstand this certain image. It's like,
you gotta be tough.
Yeah, I'm
All
cool.
this shit,
I'm cool. Hey, I always say this, I'm a bitch. I don't get into none of that.
Well, the videos that you make about your gun collection would kind of go in the other direction, right? Is that so you can be a bitch just because you got multiple pipes on you at all times?
Nah, I'm a bitch. Like 1,000% a bitch. I don't get into none of that gangster shit, none of that.
But that's like super smart on your behalf, is that you seem like you realize at a certain point that you didn't need to make your brand about being some hard ass. Because especially out of Atlanta, I know there's like a lot of temptation to be that guy who's really trying to be on some tough guy shit. And the problem with that is that all you got to do is run into somebody who's tougher than you, and it could be the end of your story, you know?
Literally. All these gangsters, all they doing is dying. Nigga, I'm just going to keep holding my camera and saying YouTube every video. I don't really want to get into none of the other shit.
But you've been having guns since you were a young guy?
I got my first gun when I was 15. I've always liked guns, like always. I always had BB guns. But I got my first real gun when I was 15. So people will probably see me with guns and they think like, oh, you think you this, you think you that? I don't think I'm none. I just genuinely like guns.
I was realizing how much easier it must be to buy a gun in Atlanta when I'm watching the video of you and you just come out the store with multiple guns and you're just throwing them in the trunk. Out here, if you could buy one gun at a time, and there's like a 3-week or 15-day waiting period before you can actually get it. I don't know why, to maybe let you cool off a little bit if you were planning on doing something crazy with it. It's a little bit more restrictive out here.
I don't think I could live in LA. Nah, hell no. I like Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of people down south, they come out here and they're just like, oh, like you're not allowed to just have.
I thought LA was like, well, it is like GTA. But I feel like Atlanta like GTA too, but I thought LA was like this crazy nice place. I feel like everything in LA is just like fake. Like I just get weird energy out here. Like I don't know, it's weird.
I mean, that's the weird thing, is that this is the #1 place on earth that people come to make it, to be successful, to get somewhere in life. But then you also have like the grimiest street shit, like the wildest like neighborhoods and shit too. And it's kind of just like a weird thing where you have like people who are really from LA who are just hardcore as fuck and they have their own culture. And then you have all these other millions of motherfuckers who move here to try to be movie stars and YouTubers and TikTokers and shit.
LA is a scary place. I done been to Chicago. I'm from Atlanta. I done been a couple places, but I would say by far Atlanta is one of them places where I won't fuck with. I done had this is actually my second time in LA.
Okay.
But last I came here, I want to say 2 months ago on a business trip for one of my brands, and I had a crazy experience to where I was in it was my last day here, and I went to a restaurant, like a little breakfast spot, and mind you, none of us know, we're not from here. We don't know, you know what I'm saying, the area. Come to find out, we in the hood at a breakfast spot. The food was good as hell, but everything was smooth until it was time to go. I get up, I go pay. Well, I'm going to pay, and at this point, I know when you in LA, you're not supposed to wear jewelry. Like I know that. I'm not stupid. Like I got my head on right. I'm street smart. But it was the last day. I had just left my last meeting, and when you meeting with them people, like, of course you want to wear your jewelry so they can see you mean business. So not like jewelry, but like a watch. I had my watch on. So I'm getting up to go pay, and as I'm paying, it's like a car tinted out pull up. It was all tinted out. It was like a gray car. It was all tinted out. And it had like some kid sticker on the back. So I'm thinking like, okay, cool. It's probably just some chick or something. No. As I'm looking, I'm paying like the register right here, the window, the glass right here. I'm paying. Every door of the car swing open. I'm like, what the fuck going on? This ain't that. Like I'm from, like I said, I'm from Atlanta. I know I be, you know what I'm saying? I be on point. So every door swing open. 4 niggas hop out. I'm like, okay, this either finna go bad or bad. So I take my hand with my watch on. I stuff it in my pocket, like deep as hell, like to the point to where you can't see my watch. So my hand in my pocket. I'm getting my car back. I'm walking back. As they walking in, one of the dudes that walked in, he stopped like right before me. Like he stopped. I walked right past him. I swear to God, this shit was like a movie. I walked right past him, and then as soon as I get past him, he was like, "Where y'all from, cuz?" or some shit like that. I'm like, no way. Like, no way. This, that. And then I ain't want to turn around because I'm like, I just want to pause the game and just quit at this point. Bro. So I sit back down to where I was sitting at, and that's when I finally look in his direction. And the rest of the other 3 niggas had just walked in behind him. And come to find out, he was talking to 4 other niggas that was sitting like further past us. So when I seen him looking at them, and they ain't talking to me or the people I'm with, all the people I was with, we got up and just got the fuck on. But as we walking outside, one of the niggas that walked in with him, he came back outside. And he was like, yo, cuz, or some shit. He said some LA shit. I don't know what the hell he was saying. He was like, yo. At this point, I'm like, fuck, they want me now. So I turn around. He like, ain't you the dude that be fucking with the YouTube and the clothes?
Oh man, the ultimate.
I was like,
get
okay,
out of jail free card.
I was like, this either gonna be good or bad. Cause it could be good, like, okay, fuck with me, or it could be bad because like, I got some motion. So I turned around, I'm like, yeah, type shit. I ain't really give him no big conversation. He was like, yeah, I fuck with you. I was like, thank God.
Wow.
We all got in the car and my manager still sitting in the fucking restaurant. We about to leave her. She's still sitting there. I'm like,
is she just clueless to the energy that's going on here?
She didn't know what was going on.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was my crazy LA story.
I mean, okay, think about it. Like the area that you're in right now, you could wear the chain, go to the mall, go fucking sit at restaurants around here, whatever, and almost like no chance that anything gonna happen. But meanwhile, you drive like 20, 30 minutes down south to the fucking, the hood, and you have where the shit happened to PNB Rock, where he got killed for basically having a necklace on. And that's like to say that LA is just so fucking weird at this point, because it's like there's areas that are nice and that you just don't expect anything to happen, and then there's areas where it's almost like a guarantee that some shit could happen in a situation like that, but that's when during the pandemic it got all fucked up too, because then you all of a sudden have people coming from the hood to the nicest areas of Beverly Hills and taking people's watches and following them back to their crib to take their watches.
I've seen some clips.
Yeah.
That shit, LA is a crazy place. It's like that in Atlanta too, but not nowhere near as crazy here. But I'm from Atlanta, so I know like the areas. I'm not from here, so I ain't know what the fuck was going on.
Right.
And then another thing with LA, I wear fitted hat. Like I wear a cap, like fitted caps. You can't wear that out here.
Yeah.
Like they real specific on what you can and can't wear. So.
But like out here, honestly, like you could pretty much wear whatever fucking hat you want. But yeah, you go to different neighborhoods and you rock that same Yankees hat, and it's very, very controversial.
I'm wearing a beanie or no hat. I'm good.
Yeah, you got your head screwed on straight for sure, because you just want to avoid all that shit. But really, it's like you could see the most gangster ass gang members ever, and if you got an op hat on and you're clearly from out of town, it's like almost everybody's gonna give you a pass and not be trying to press an issue about that or whatever. I feel
I don't want no problem.
Yeah, but you don't even want to give them any reason. Yeah,
nah, I'm good.
Definitely.
I try to avoid all confrontation at any cost.
Definitely. So, but like in Atlanta, and especially the fact that you're documenting all this shit on a consistent basis, does it feel like you run into a lot of people that give you a hard time, or do you feel like for the most part people understand what you're doing and they respect it?
I would say it's for sure love and hate in Atlanta. Like you never know who got showing support and who hating. So like me personally, I never go nowhere by myself. Like, I always got at least one person with me, but majority of the time it's either 3-4 of us, we all together. But yeah, it's just like that's anywhere though. You don't know who's showing love, who hating. I seen a video where I don't know who the person was, but a nigga was taking a picture with a supporter, and then as they taking the picture, the supporter just swung on him. I'm like, hell nah, I'm good.
That's when you're really like, fuck, I can't trust anybody. I got to be careful as fuck out here.
Bro.
Yeah.
I don't know, it should get crazy.
Because everybody knows the feeling if you're a content creator or whatever, if you're in a place and there's somebody looking at you and your brain is trying to do the calculus to be like, is this somebody who loves me or somebody who hates me?
Bro, like motherfuckers just be staring at you. You don't know what it is. Like I was in Target last night with one of my bros that's out there, and this nigga was just staring at him. He was just staring at him hard. I'm like, the nigga either gangbang or something. Because I know he don't know the nigga because we're not from out here. Come to find out, we walk out Target. The nigga, one of my other partners told me, like, yeah, he a Crip, just like off his attire. I didn't know that. But off his attire, you could tell he was a Crip. But we walk out the damn store, my partner got a chain on. I'm like, nigga, are you dumb? Are you stupid? Take your chain off. You ain't supposed to do that out here. This is the first time out here, but.
Yeah. When it comes to the girl shit, how much of a part of your come up is that in terms of just like doing the shit where you fly girls out, or you like are showing, like, I feel like there's a big part of the audience that as much as they want to see jewelry and cars and shit, to see you flying out an Instagram baddie, that's just like the easiest go-to thing that everybody at home is going to be like fantasizing about this chick. They want to see what it's actually like for you to kick it with her.
I would say, me personally, I never flew anyone out.
Okay.
I never did that. But I would say the whole girl shit, well, a boy and a girl together is just like more easier on YouTube. And I was at a point on YouTube to where like I had like a creator's block. I was like, damn, I don't know what to post because it's not something to do every day. And I'm not at that point to where I could just record anything and it'll just go up.
Right.
So I started slowly implementing girls into my content. And I don't do it every video, but I do it every now and then. And it just like keeps shit going. But I wouldn't say it was a big part of my success because, like I said, I scaled up my first channel over 100,000 subscribers without a girl in sight. So I would say it's just like a little plus.
You're in a relationship at this point or not?
Yeah.
How long?
We've been on and off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your audience lover?
Yeah, they do. It's like they damn near got a connection with her.
You gotta be careful.
Bro, the internet and a relationship is a scary thing, bro.
Right.
Like, I done been through some shit with the whole relationship and internet shit.
Right. I mean, the biggest risk to me is that you give her a bunch of clout, and I don't even know like if she got existing clout or whatever, but like then things go bad. She takes that same clout, those same followers, and she decides to go on an anti-Quan mission. That's the real danger.
I pray every night. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
If she turn and she do what she do, that's on her.
You just gotta try to pick the right one that won't be vengeful.
I feel like the one I got, we good.
Right.
We for sure good.
I've seen it go both ways though. I've seen, even myself, like when I got in a relationship, I felt like the audience really fucked with her, even though they also like were pissed initially that I wasn't, just because a lot of my early vlogs that did real well were me just doing the most thoughty shit, going out, partying with chicks, doing like scumbag shit. All of a sudden we back at my crib at 4 or 5 in the morning with a bunch of girls, and like people were really watching it because they like seeing like something unpredictable like that, That's hard to sustain long term.
It's people, they love me in a relationship and they hate me in a relationship. They say, oh, you too young for a relationship, go live your life, go have fun. But it's like, but these girls ain't got shit for me.
Have you got into the game of like really trying to link with like all the rappers in Atlanta and everything? Because I feel like I haven't seen you do a lot of the rapper clickbait yet.
Nah, I'm a real shy nigga. Like I'm not a person to speak. Like if we both in the same room, and I won't really. I'm growing into that because I know connections is everything. But like I don't really care like to be around motherfuckers. I'm cool with the bros. I'm by myself.
Definitely. I feel like you should find your own artist and like kind of sign him, have him be hanging out around you, and you're just sort of helping to push him in the right direction and kind of.
It is smart. But as far as like kicking it with rappers, I personally don't know many rappers. Yeah, nah.
Are you super tapped in with what's going on in the rap scene though? You listen to like all the new Atlanta rappers and shit like that, or is it not a huge concern?
I ain't gonna lie, I feel old, but it's a lot of new young niggas in Atlanta like popping they shit.
Oh yeah, you got a couple dozen every year,
That shit, I can't keep up, I ain't gonna lie. Like my partner was just putting me on a couple of Atlanta, like young niggas in Atlanta. But I ain't gonna lie, Atlanta, like the young artists in Atlanta, they going crazy. But a lot of them sound the same. But I feel like that's everywhere though. Like when New York was doing that shit, a lot of them sounded the same. Yeah. It's just like, where you from? But I fuck with it. If you Atlanta and you popping your shit and you young, shit, keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that the YSL Rico changed Atlanta? Because I feel like I've had people telling me that like the rappers coming out of Atlanta now is different because they are super paranoid about putting any kind of label on themselves in terms of the gang shit, and they don't want to like be putting shit in their lyrics that alludes to, gang rivalries and shit like that because they just know that the cops kind of got a hard on for the rappers at this point.
I ain't gonna lie. Young niggas in Atlanta now don't care. They don't give a fuck about nothing. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know what the fuck it is, but motherfuckers just don't care. I guess it's cool to crash out nowadays.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people. I was just talking about that with that big 50 girl that was out there. Is that she's just like, there's so many things that they used to do, living a life of crime to avoid getting caught, and now it seems like the new generation is just like, meh, whatever, we'll just do everything on our iPhone.
Man, it's 13, 14-year-olds walking around with switches. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, that's wild.
That shit is crazy.
I don't want to have the kind of beef that necessitates a switch.
I don't want no beef. I don't do the beef and shit. If you beefing with Quan, you beefing with yourself.
I forget what rapper said it, but I heard somebody say the other day that I don't do switches. I like to count my shots. I'm like, wow, that's fucked up too, but I like that.
That shit is crazy.
So when somebody signs up for your credit course and everything, like what is the real direction that you try to take them? Like what's the basic version of what you teach in that regard?
It's more so like starting your credit, because it probably seems easy, but a lot of people don't know like how to obtain your first credit card or how to do such things to get your first car or how to upgrade cars. I've been upgrading all my cars through credit, but the whole Patreon shit, I haven't really been posting in there because I'm working on a new platform to where I'm going to be consistent with, and I got a whole team behind it and all that. But I would say just starting credit. That's really all it is in there.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, just even having the basic knowledge of it for most people is such a big factor. I got really lucky because when I was young, I was selling mad shit that I had shoplifted on eBay. And then as a result of that, I got pre-qualified for a credit card because of all the shit I was selling on eBay. And so I had a credit card when I was like 18, 19. And that's how I know
that shit helped.
But then I fucked my shit up too. So I got to learn that lesson as well. But, you know.
I feel like the credit game is like school, bro. Because when you in school, let's say you got a 90 and you fail a test, your shit drop like crazy and it's hard as hell to go back up. It's just like that with credit. You got a 700 credit score, you miss a payment, your shit drop and it's hard. It take a long time to come back up.
Yeah, even just missing a payment, which to me is crazy. Just because I'm late on a fucking payment, you're going to act as if this is like a reason to dock my shit that hard. But
that shit is just like school, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. That makes me so thankful that I got a business manager at this point, so I don't even have to think about any of that shit.
No, bro, because me personally, I'm low-key lazy when it comes to certain shit. But, yeah, I feel like having a team is for sure.
Because you're someone who, there's one thing that you can do that nobody else can do, which is being you and recording yourself being you. And then everything else, you know, paying your fucking credit card bill or doing your taxes or whatever. I mean, there's somebody else out there who's way better at that shit than you.
Exactly.
That could be spending their time on that shit on behalf of you. And yeah, it's going to cost you some money. But for me as a creative, I would pay anything to just not have to do the shit that I don't want to do.
Literally. And I don't like being told what to do. So when my accountant's telling me do this, do that, I'm like, bro, leave me the fuck alone. I listen, but it's like, I just don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have you thought about doing other kinds of content, whether it's like short form content or doing like a podcast? I feel like a lot of people come up doing the vlog type shit and then they pivot into podcast shit actually usually.
It's crazy because I was just in the talks with my manager about building a warehouse and I want to start a podcast, but I don't want to rush it. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I'm ready for that yet, but I feel like it's going to for sure come with due time.
And I feel like it's weird. There's quite a few people that I've liked on YouTube over the years, like H3H3 or the Nelk Boys, who built their name off of making these like really dope, tightly condensed 10, 20-minute videos. And then at some point they switch over to podcasting because they kind of realize like, oh, it's a lot easier to make like an hour or 2 hour long piece of content doing the podcast thing. And they just sort of switch to that. Whereas I feel like, you know, I like a nicely crafted vlog, you know, I definitely see the value in it.
I feel like the whole podcast shit, first and foremost, it's way more money in podcasts than vlogs.
Interesting.
And the sponsorships that come with podcasts is absurd. Like getting a sponsorship vlogging, first off, vlogging it's hard as hell to grow on YouTube while you vlogging. Like, cause motherfucker, if you nobody, motherfuckers don't care to watch you. You got to solidify that support base to where people want to watch you. So as far as getting sponsorships while being a vlogger, it's not that easy.
My whole time vlogging, I always felt like I was aiming to make my shit like 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20. And when I look at your shit and I see you just doing like hour 20 long vlogs and I'm like, oh shit. So like if you got the balls and the fan base to actually do that, the fans will go along on the ride with you, right? Or do you think there's a value in making your shit shorter, or do you feel like a hour-long video serves the same purpose?
I feel like nowadays, if you make a great, well, for monetization purposes, you make that hour-long video, you're getting way more money. But nowadays with TikTok and people's attention span being way shorter, if you make a good short video, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know if it's gonna get the views and people gonna watch throughout the whole thing, but why make a 15-minute video and people watch the whole 15 minutes versus me making an hour video and people watching 30 minutes? I'm basically getting double the pay from what I would get for the 15-minute video.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we were talking about that like thrift shop trend or whatever, but what do you see as like the dominant trends, and do you have to stop yourself from participating in some of them? Because like the 20 versus 1 thing is like the current thing that's kind of taken over the internet, and to such an extent that I don't even know like the exact details, but somebody got pistol whipped over 20 versus 1 beef while filming a Krishan Rock 20 versus 1 video in Atlanta. You probably know the people involved in this shit. I don't know them, but fucking, I mean, that's kind of wild that like this one concept could be so hot that multiple different camera crews or YouTubers would be basically beefing over who's able to do this content.
That was never really like, I don't really necessarily, that's me. I don't think that's me. I don't really, like I said, go for trends. I want to create a trend. And as far as like making content with a group of people, that ain't me either. Like, I want to just go out there and do my own thing because it sound bad, but I don't really like people like that. So like me working with 20 girls and 1 artist or something, it's like one thing go wrong, I just want to leave. I don't really, you know what I'm saying, care for that.
Because, all right, what you have going for yourself is that you can get hundreds of thousands of views off of just being you. A lot of the people who are doing the 20 versus 1 shit, let's be real, it's like if they weren't doing that, they would basically be getting no fucking views. It's like it's a concept and a thumbnail concept that's like attractive enough to people that you could just pop off with it without them even really giving a fuck about you, which is, I'm almost kind of describing No Jumper as well right now, because it's like obviously our views fluctuate a shitload based on who we're talking to. Right. And then we have like our weekly podcasts that, you know, tend to have like more stable view counts, but there's definitely a lot of people out there. It's kind of like the diamond tester shit too. I feel like I've seen so many people doing the diamond tester thing that it don't even really matter who's doing it. People just like the idea of the concept, so they'll watch whoever doing it.
It's like 2 sides of YouTube where you got that people that has that authentic support base that wants to watch them, and you got that side of YouTube too where people just want to watch the content they created, such as the 20v1s or the pranks or the challenges and stuff like that. So it's like, it's really up to you. If you want to be a vlogger and you want to build that strong support base, go do that. But if you don't care about that and you just want money, go do what everybody else is doing. It's easy to blow up. I mean, it's not easy to blow up, but it's easier to blow up doing that. And I would use Mr.Beast as a good example. Like, of course, people love Mr.Beast, but they watch him for his crazy content. I don't think he necessarily cares about the support he gets because he's getting everything else he's getting. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, he's someone who realized that you kind of need to like hijack the attention span on YouTube. And if you can make it so that there's a switch up in the editing every second or 2 seconds, that's going to keep the fans engaged. And watch a Mr.Beast video and just think to yourself, like, what is he doing to keep me engaged in this? And you'll notice a lot of different little things happening because it's all about keeping you, you know, held down to it. The question is like, is Mr.Beast the person really like a superstar? And I mean, I definitely think he's a star, but it's the question of like could there be like a blockbuster Mr.Beast movie? I don't know. That's like the ultimate ask, getting people to go to a theater and pay for that shit.
I think it would.
He allegedly has like a game show coming on Amazon Prime, and I think that's going to be the biggest test of like, will his audience follow him to another platform?
I feel like if you can master YouTube, you could damn near master anything. Because once you master YouTube, like I said, YouTube is probably one of the hardest platforms to grow on. Everything else just seems easier. It's easier to grow on Instagram. It's easier to grow on TikTok, Twitch. Like, YouTube is just that hard platform to grow on.
Do you put time into TikTok and shorts and reels and all that type of shit?
No. I post on TikTok every now and then, but I don't really focus or care about it.
It's kind of weird. Like, I have people email me, like multiple people per day, trying to get me to like give them money to make shorts out of our content, even though we already have multiple employees who do that shit. But I feel like that kind of is like basically like the way you come up these days, like, is just by people getting more familiar with you through the short form content. But it's also like, it's hard to accept that now has to be part of your workflow when you're used to making vlogs that just straight up make money from day one. And like basically the TikTok and the reels and all that shit earns you like almost nothing.
TikTok and real shit is like a lot of people don't know, but why would I go pay somebody to do it when there's people already out here doing it? And those people that are doing it that's getting the views are making hella money off of the content they posting of me or you or whoever the creator is. So it's like people out here doing it, getting paid. I'm not gonna necessarily say, okay, everybody go make a shorts channel or TikTok and just flood content. Like, no, but if you're doing it, y'all know the money that's in that. So it's like, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily go out and pay a group of people to do that for me.
Yeah, because people hit me all the time asking me to pay them to do that. But then when I look at TikTok, all I see is myself. And granted, it's because the algorithm is tuned to like show me myself because I fucking watch shit that I'm on. But I mean, yeah, like when I see some random guy who took a little chunk of the podcast and got 2 million views off of just highlighting something funny or something weird, I'm like, oh, on one hand, thank you, because you definitely brought some attention to my shit, even if you didn't tag us and you could barely fucking see me or whatever. But like at the same time, it's like I'm probably not going to pay someone to do that. But I can understand how somebody who's brand new or doesn't have a fan base, it would make sense for them to pay somebody,
sure
you know?
For sure that. If you don't have a solidified support base, I would for 1,000% say, go invest into yourself and getting them clip pages and them TikTok pages, because a TikTok can blow up overnight like this, and that's hella traction to whatever platform you want it to.
You don't, or do you edit your own stuff?
Yeah, I edit everything.
Every vlog? Wow, really? Is there part of you that wants to get an editor? Because I feel like that would be the ultimate thing that would clear up time in your life, right?
People always tell me, why don't you get an editor? Why don't you get like a set cameraman? I feel like it won't be authentic when it gets to that point. Like I'm sitting here editing my own videos. I'm taking out everything I want to take out, putting clips I want to put in. Like it make it more Quan versus I get an editor, he do this. Like for instance, majority of people that get editors, they edit like Mr.Beast style. It's hella cuts, hella words, hella pop-ups. It's like, I don't want that. I want authentic.
I feel like you could almost have like another channel where you have like a 10-minute version of all of your hour-long videos. Because
that would probably go crazy.
It would be like totally different styles of content. I wonder which one would be more popular, honestly.
I ain't gonna lie, the shorter form content would probably blow like crazier than the long form content channel, but I would say the long form content channel will for sure bring more money.
You started as a streamer. What do you think when you look at somebody like Kai or Speed or all these dudes who are just blowing the fuck up doing the streaming thing? What's your thought on that? Because like they're kind of doing the same thing as you. You're just doing it and then editing it and then putting it out. They're just doing everything live, which is obviously a totally different beast.
I find streaming now beautiful. Like that shit is crazy. Like a person could just sit down and live stream themselves and just go crazy. Obtain like hundreds of thousands of views just sitting there. And now I'm getting to that point, so I'm gonna start doing that. But I feel like, I don't know, I couldn't pick like what's better between creating vlogs and streaming. I don't know, they both cool as hell.
Yeah, it's different. Two different ways to skin a cat, I guess. Okay, a couple more questions. When I see you, like you got a lot of nice shit, and you, before this relationship that you're in now, what is your thought process on like what you would do with a girl on the first date or the first time you hang out with them? Because you got all this nice shit and it's like, do you want to pull out the nicest car and like the nicest outfit and take them to the nicest restaurant the first time around, or do you need to kind of like ease them into that?
I feel like it shouldn't be a such thing as a first date. You just gotta vibe with a girl, see what she on first, versus why are you taking her on a date and you don't know shit about her? Get to know her, and then if y'all move past that stage, then y'all can go on a date. Why y'all out here taking girls on dates to impress them? Like, if that's the case, then she ain't for you.
It's super fucked up too. Like I feel like podcasting killed dating for me because I was doing so much of this, and then I would go out with a girl and try to have an hour-long conversation with her over dinner or whatever, and just realize like, this bitch retarded. Like I can't do this. Like this is I had 10 conversations on camera this week. And this is the worst one. It's not on camera, but this is the worst.
Right.
And it's just tough to like, you know, because a lot of the hottest girls, like their personality never really develops.
Like a fucking brick.
Yeah. Literally. Like, because they just don't have to become funny, interesting people because they have a million dudes that want to do everything for them.
Right.
So when you meet a hot chick who has a good personality, usually you should jump on it.
Fact.
Those are the ones who get wifed up super early on and are never single.
I don't know, man. All these girls are saying they don't want nothing but some money. But I can't say you are who you attract who you around. Like, if you around hoes, you gonna attract hoes. Shit like that.
No, yeah, that's real.
I know people don't really ask you questions on your podcast.
Go crazy. What do you want to know?
How old are you?
40.
40? Okay. What how your mental like? You good?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
For sure.
Yeah, because you know that's when I can tell how I'm good or if I'm not good is because right now today I have 3 podcasts in a row, about 6-7 hours of recording. I feel totally fine with it. When I'm not doing good mentally, I have to like prepare myself, and it's like a whole battle to go in there and actually like sit down and do that shit. Because either way, I'm doing this shit.
Right.
But yeah, like this, like I'll go home after this and I'll feel totally fine. And that's how I know that my mental health is in a good position right now.
Creators don't get that. Like, people don't really think. People think creators are fucking robots. They don't think like motherfuckers is human. Like, we go through the same shit y'all go through. Our mental can go up and down just like y'all shit can. So I feel like every creator should focus on mental health first. That's why I wanted to ask that for sure.
No, that's definitely true. And for me too, it's also like coming in and knowing that I'm going to be sitting down doing 6 hours of interviews. It's like I have to like seal my brain off from everything else. I have to go on Do Not Disturb on my phone. I got to basically like block out every possible thing that I could be thinking about because I'm going to do a shitty job of sitting here if I'm just thinking about like, oh, what did this person text me, or I got to hit this person back or whatever. I got to just basically like be able to seal my brain off and just live completely in the moment while I'm having the conversation, which is, it can be a challenge, but that's like the best way to do a good job, I think.
For sure.
I seen a video of some dude accusing you of living a fake lifestyle and saying you wrote him a fake check. I won't name them, but
I think
where does this stuff come from?
You want a story?
Sure.
I could tell the story because I ain't speak on it. Like I said, I don't do the beef shit. Like,
yeah.
For me. So boom, I had a car that I had went and bought a car that a popular YouTuber raffled off.
Right.
And I bought the car for content purposes because I didn't originally want that car. I wanted a truck. So I went and bought that car. Cool. I'm thinking content. I'm finna make that content. Boom. I get bored of the car because I'm like, okay, this ain't the car I originally wanted. I'm about to go get the car I really wanted. So I go trade that in, and I already done got the truck that I wanted while having this car that I just bought for the content. So a dude hit me. He was like, I posted the car on Facebook Marketplace for sale because I had just sold a car that I had previous on Facebook Marketplace. And I still owed on the car. Like, I owed like $60,000 on the car. This is the first car I sold it, I'm talking about. I owed like $60,000 on the car. Posted on Facebook Marketplace for like $75,000. So I sell the car on Facebook Marketplace. I meet up with the dude like South Georgia. I think it was like Columbia, Georgia. Met up at a Wells Fargo. He wrote me a cashier's check. Literally gave him the keys. He gave me the check. I gave him a virtual title or electronic title or some shit like that from the bank that financed the car. So I got the cashier check for $75,000. I went in there, boom. Mind you, I'm talking about the first car because I know the TikTok clip is gonna be all over the place. So I pay that car off with the check that he gave me. Cool. I pocketed $15,000. Now with that $15,000, this one I went and go buy the SUV I wanted. So now I got the SUV. No, I didn't buy the SUV. This one I bought the Charger for content that the YouTuber had raffled off and somebody sold it. I went and bought that car with the $15K profit. I put down that $15K on the Charger. It's known as Green Goblin. That's the name of the car.
Right.
So cool. Now I got this car for content. I'm like, okay, cool. It gets to a point to where like, okay, I just moved out. I'm making good money. So I'm like, I'm finna go buy the truck I want. I wanted a Trackhawk. So I go buy a Trackhawk. Cool. Now I got a Trackhawk and this Hellcat, the Green Goblin Hellcat. Cool. I get bored of this. I get bored of shit real quick. It's like, I made my content. It's like, okay, cool, what's next? That's why I finance cars and don't buy cars cash because they're just gonna lose their value. So I sell that. I have the Trackhawk and the Hellcat. I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this shit. I posted a car on Facebook Marketplace just like I did. My previous car I sold. Everything was smooth. A dude hit me. He like, I got a couple offers for the car. They hit me like, woot, woot. But it was this one specific person that was like real serious about it. And I talked to my mom about everything. So I hit my mom like, how do this whole wire shit work? Because I wasn't doing wires back then. So they wire money to the bank where the car is financed through. And the value of the car just dropped down. They was like, I'm gonna do 50 today and like 35 tomorrow, some shit like that. I was like, okay, cool. I ain't believe them until they did it. They did the first one, I think it was like 50,000. cool. It hit on the, I can go on my app and see, like, okay, cool, the car went down. I owed $80,000, it went down $30,000. I'm like, damn, I only owe $30,000 on this car. It's about to be paid off. I'm about to sell it to him. Go on, move on with my life. Cool. So boom, after that $50,000, he did like another $10,000. And at this point, I'm in Puerto Rico. I went on a trip with my girl for like her birthday or whatever.
I just got back from Puerto Rico.
It's crazy out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So boom, we out there, but right before we left, the dude, he was like, the dude that was paying on the car, he just went ghost. And now I owe $30,000 on a car that I originally owed $80,000 on. And he went ghost for, I want to say, 2 months. And within that 2 months, it ain't no sketchy shit, no nothing. It's like, okay, I owe $30,000 on a car. I'm still making my regular car payments because I still got to pay every month. So I'm like, I owe $30,000 on a car. I don't know if the nigga died, went to jail, what happened to the dude. Mind you, I met him on Facebook Marketplace, got his number, we exchanged shit from there. Cool. From that point on, I owe $30,000 on a car. The buyer is gone. I'm like, okay, I still own the car. He stopped paying me up. I'm calling the 3 numbers he gave me. And it's crazy because they was all iMessage numbers. So I'm thinking like, okay, this dude legit. I go sell the car after 2 months of owning the car with the $30,000 left on the car. I traded in for a red eye. I upgraded, basically. Once I upgraded, I was like, I'm gonna keep this car low key and I'm gonna keep my track out, like my pop out car, because you always need a low key car. I go trade that car in, and that's when I go to Puerto Rico. So now I have this new car. I'm in Puerto Rico. Mind you, this is the 3rd month of the dude not hitting me up or nothing. The dealership called me. They like, or the dude I was working with at the dealership, my sales associate, hit me. He was like, yeah, we tried to pay off the other car, but it's saying that you owe $80,000. I'm like, what you mean? Like, I got proof, like, right here, all my shit good. I'm thinking, like, ain't nothing to this shit. So I get back to Atlanta, I go to the dealership. They like, yeah, we had to take this car back. I'm like, I don't have a problem with you taking the car back. Like, take the car back. They locked me in the room at some motion on some crazy shit. I'm like, whoa. Oh, all over a car? They like, yeah, you think, because in their mind, they like, oh, this nigga just scammed us for a car that he traded in that he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because they was only supposed to pay, the car was worth 30, and they gave me, I think, 70 for it. So that 40,000 went on to the next car. So they like, oh, this nigga just scammed us, whoop. Whole time, I'm the one that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just got finessed from the nigga that was paying he was wiring to the, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like this really, but when I tell you that shit did not seem nowhere near real, I'm sitting in the back of the dealership like, this is really my life right now. Like, I'm about to go to jail over some dumb shit like this.
Right.
It's $80,000. Like, I can pay this and be good, but I'm not paying it because I didn't, like, it's not my fault. So it's like, I'm not coming out of pocket for 80 racks that I ain't called. So I'm like, fuck no. So then at this point, for when I sold the green car, the dude that you was talking about went and bought the car. He started making content with it, and I'm cool with him. So they like, yeah, well, if we can get that green car back, you'll be good. Like, we'll just put you back in that green car. We'll give him the gray car, and that's it. Like, you good. I know the nigga, so I'm like, yo, like, this shit happened, Get these folks the car back. Like, will you get these folks the car back? And like, shit be good. Like, I know you making content with this car. Like, if you want to continue making content with the car, like, I pay for your rap to make the car look exactly the same. Make it exactly how you want. I come out of pocket, pay the bread, but it's just like, I'm in this situation and I'm not coming out of pocket $80,000 for some shit I ain't caused. And then he like, yeah, shit, I got you. Like, we cool anyway, so I got you. He get a car back, we swap cars, That happened. Months go by, niggas fall out. It was over some little petty shit. Niggas fall out, and then he went on the internet and just going crazy. But it's like, since I didn't speak out on it, motherfuckers will take what he said and run with it. So he said, oh yeah, about the fake checks, not knowing that if you sit him down right here and ask him the same story, he'll tell you the exact same story. Like, but
do you think that he actually genuinely believes that you scammed, or is he just saying whatever to? He wants
the upper hand, and motherfuckers know like Quan don't get in the beef, Quan don't get in the drama. I'm not finna go address no. You know what I'm saying? So he said that was that. Everybody think, and people already think I scam. So it's like that just added fuel to the fire. Like, yeah, this nigga writing fake checks, da. And I ain't. This is actually my first time ever speaking on it. A lot of people don't even know this story, but shit, why not?
Damn, that's a wild lifestyle, just like buying and selling cars that often. And like, because I always assumed that you would just lose a lot of money on each transaction. But I guess you're doing
like,
it
since
enough.
I'm making the content, it's like I'm not really losing much. Little to none.
Right.
I get a car, I make content with it. If I don't like it, I sell it. That's that. Upgrade on to the next.
Wow. It's badass. You're making me want to ball harder. I got one car and I lease it.
I feel like I said, for me, I always like cars.
Yeah.
So, shit, do what you like.
Part of my excuse was always that I don't have enough space in the driveway of my house to have multiple cars. But then I realized that I got friends who got multiple cars and they just leave it at like a dealership or a different, like, you know, all kinds of different places that
You like cars?
Not really, but I could see myself getting more into it.
Yeah.
I do like them. I just kind of like ignore that part of my brain.
Cars is like my piece. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like on some real shit, not to sound down or nothing, but if it weren't for cars, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Really?
Like, I feel like cars got me through a dark place in my life.
Just what, working on them or the actual act of driving them? Or?
Driving cars, just cars in general. Like, I just love cars. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, to put it in perspective, I spilled coffee all over the interior of my car and it's been like 2 months and I just sent it in for a car wash.
Yeah, nah, you don't like cars. Hell nah. Hell nah.
Nah, it's not good. It's not good. So, all right, what are your hopes and dreams? Like, what do you really, your ideal version of where you could be at 5 years from now? What's that look like?
5 years from now, I want to at least have 20 properties. I at least need 20 properties. I want to get into real estate because it's a bag in real estate. Like, I don't want to be doing YouTube forever, like where it's to the point to where like it's like a job. You
want to get to the point where the YouTube money doesn't really feel like it's that consequential, because you notice a lot of people like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, FaZe Banks, etc. They get to a certain point financially and they're just like, well, why the fuck am I going to stress out making a vlog?
Exactly.
I don't need to do this.
To the point to where like I'm just vlogging freely. Like it's gonna get to that point where I'm not even putting ads on my vlogs. I'm just posting because I genuinely like doing YouTube. But I'm gonna be doing other things such as real estate and other business ventures that I won't put on the internet because I don't let everybody know I got going on.
Definitely. What's your main message to the youth, to the people who are just finding out about you from this interview, as well as your hardcore fans who had to tune in?
I would say comparison is the thief of joy. Don't think because somebody else has something that's your same age that you need it. Like, everybody time gonna come. I say this shit all the time. Everybody book is different. You probably just in the early point of your book to where like it ain't get interesting yet. Just keep scrolling through them pages. It's gonna get to where you're destined to be.
Me and Vlad were just having that conversation the other day that both of us didn't really see success until we were in our like early to mid 30s.
Yeah, people, it's this generation. Like, I would say me, for example, a lot of people look at me like, damn, this nigga living this crazy life at this young ass age. Like, I want to do that. But it's like, maybe it's just not your time. Like, I done been through a lot of shit as a kid, and it was just like, probably maybe this was my time for a reason. Literally.
Yeah, no, there's something special about being able to pop off with your passions and your interests while you're still in your early mid 20s, whatever. But let's be real, like a lot of people out there, from content creators to podcasters to whatever, they don't really like find what their like true calling is until quite a bit later. But meanwhile, people are so used to seeing like if you're 20, you're really paying attention to what other 20-year-olds are popping off.
Exactly.
So it's hard for you to accept that like, well, maybe I'm not meant to be blowing up right now. I need to work for 10 more years before I'm going to figure out exactly like how I'm going to make it, you know?
It's sad, but that's just life. Like, you got to go through this shit. If it's meant for you, it's going to happen. If not, it's like sad to say, but that's just what it is.
Definitely. Anybody you want to thank? Any shout outs?
I want to say I thank God, first and foremost. God and my mom, for sure.
For sure. I like what you're bringing to the game. I like seeing, new creators pushing the vlog shit down the pipeline. Sometimes it feels like the vlog format has kind of like reached the end of its rope. Like, people aren't as fascinated with it anymore. But when I look at your channel and I see like how many people are like clearly getting motivation from your shit, from reading the comments and everything, is motivating me as well. So much respect, man.
For sure.
For sure. Quan, No Jumper. Coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, Instagram. Turn my man up. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel and everything like that. Like, comment, subscribe. NoJumper.com if you want to support.